Hello, Tech Pros, episode 125.
When it comes to your career, when it comes to your life, when it comes to your business, you don't have to wait for someone to give you permission to do it on your terms.
Welcome to the podcast where I chat with professionals who are getting the job done using technology 7 days a week. Each week, we start with Motivation Monday. Tuesday is about productivity, Wednesday, leadership, Thursday, technology, Friday, people and communication, Saturday, entrepreneurship, and Sunday, being unplugged. All right, let's get started. Hello, Tech Pros. This is Chad Bostic, and I'm excited to introduce our featured guest today, Mike Morrison. Happy Saturday, Mike.
Hey, same to you, Chad. Great to be back.
Welcome back. This is the first time that I've had a guest back-to-back on the episode. So we've done 125 episodes of Hello Tech Pros so far, and you're the first guest that I've had in a back-to-back episode. You should feel like amazing about that.
I do. I feel genuinely honored.
Awesome. Well, if you didn't already catch it, go back and listen to episode 118 before you listen to this episode, because that's gonna clear things up for you. If you already know what a membership site is, if you're already convinced that you need to build a membership and you want to get really, really tactical on like, okay, what are the next steps that I need to take to build my membership site, then this is the podcast for you to listen to. If you are a little bit confused on what we're talking about, after listening to this for a few minutes, just jump back to hellotechpros.com/118, or if you're on iTunes or Google or wherever you listen to, tune in to episode 118, and you'll get the backstory on what we're talking about today. So to recap, Mike Morrison has over 15 years of web development and online marketing, and he now makes up one half of the Membership Guys, specializing in teaching business owners and hobbyists alike how to build, launch, and grow successful membership sites and communities. He now considers himself a reformed web developer and enjoys nothing more than helping others escape the time for money trap and teaching them how to move from one-to-one services to one-to-many model. And Mike, that's exactly what we talked about last week, and you helped me identify, you know what, hang on, time out, Chad. Before we get into whether or not Chad's going to start a membership site, you had me break it down into a 2x2 grid where we talked about first identifying my passions, then my skills, the things that I'm really good at or have expertise in. Third of all, what does the audience want? What does my market want and care about? And then the fourth thing are the gaps in the marketplace.
Yeah. Definitely, for sure. And I think so many people rush ahead into, well, which membership platform should I use? What should the tech be? Mm-hmm. And especially if you're techie anyway, which
Yep.
I know your crowd is,
Yeah.
and I'm amongst them. The temptation to start crunching through all of the technical options and kind of thinking of all the fancy custom stuff you code up, that pulls people away from getting that foundational stuff done of making sure you actually have an idea someone would be willing to pay for. And that typically tends to be at the root of membership sites that just go nowhere because actually their idea was terrible. So this initial stuff, this is what's going to make a big difference to whether or not a membership idea takes off, or whether you open the doors to the sounds of crickets riding on the back of tumbleweeds. So,
Or I love the first two that you pinned together here. The number one, the passions, and number two, the skills. Because I actually have an Evernote notebook that's called Idea Junkie, and it's just I come up with ideas constantly of what I see as potential gaps in the marketplace or things that people need. And so I log them in Evernote so that I have like a running list of all the things and someday I would like to build. And I did that specifically because like I have a domain buying habit, and I have all kinds of crap that I'll never actually build.com, and just my recurring expenses on renewing my domain names is astronomical every month, and I have never completed these, primarily because once I start like getting into it and say, okay, this crazy idea thing that I wanted to build.com, now that I'm actually working on it, it's kind of boring. I don't really care about it, or I really have no idea what the heck I'm talking about and what I'm doing. So
Yeah.
why am I working on this again? And then I just kind of let it expire.
I've done exactly the same thing in the past. Not Evernote. I might be the only person in the world who just hasn't gelled with Evernote. I'm still an old school pen and paper kind of guy. So I used to carry around this. I used to be proud of the fact that I had these black notebooks that were my idea journals, and I would say, within these books, there's got to be millions of dollars worth of ideas here. If only I had the time to do it.
Right.
Funny thing is, when you actually land on the thing you want to do, it usually doesn't come from the type of ideas you're putting into those books. And when you do land on the idea, you stop doing that. I at one point had 300 domain names. I used to trade domain names. I used to flip websites in my early internet marketing days. I think I'm down to maybe about 25, 30 now. And
Good for
that's,
you.
but that wasn't part of a conscious effort. That was literally just because I stopped digging around, and I landed on something I genuinely was interested in, I was passionate about, that also happened to serve a need and address a gap in the market. And exactly the same as you, the ideas that I had were very rarely stuff I actually wanted to do. They were opportunities that I thought existed. So I was purely thinking along the lines of, people want this and there's maybe a gap. I wasn't thinking, well, is this actually something I'm interested in? Is this actually something I'm good at? So important, especially with a membership, because you need to show up and serve in your membership. And if you're not passionate about what you're teaching people, if you don't really have the skills, if you don't really have the experience in the area that you're teaching, you're not going to show up. And if you don't show up, neither will your members.
Man, that's so true. Like if it's not a priority to you, then your heart's not going to be in it. And if your heart's not in it, then the quality of the product or quality of the service, it's going to show, right? And people are going to see right through it, and they're going to be like, yeah, this was obviously farmed out by a team of people that, have no idea what they're talking about or no passion. As opposed to the things that if you're really, really passionate about whatever it is, like losing weight, like really passionate about, hey, I went through this journey and I lost a lot of weight, or I got in shape, that's a great story that you're going to be passionate about the rest of your life. Or a transformational moment in your career, or just something, an entertainment value thing that you're just, Game of Thrones, dude, I'm right there with you. And tell you what, next season, I'm going to have to open up like a channel on my Slack channel, where it's just Game of Thrones, like live, and we're live tweeting.
Although let's not even go there with next season, because they're doing it later. They're only doing a shorter season.
All right. Yeah.
I'm still rageful over that, man.
All right. We'll reel it back in. So, yeah, I can go off on that as well. Yeah. We're gonna have to bring you back for maybe a Sunday Unplugged episode to talk about Game of Thrones problems that make me cry. Yeah. So Mike, I filled out your grid between last week and this week, and I have a lot of information on cells number 1 and 2, and I have a little bit of information. I still need to do a lot of work on cells 3 and 4, but maybe that's a good enough place where we can start and really identify, okay, now that we have this grid filled out, then what are the next steps? So again, to recap, the grid is in number 1, your passions, the things that you're just so fired up about and you love doing and you would do it for free, but you don't want to. Number 2 is your skills, the things that you're good at, the things that you have experience with. And number 3 is the wants and needs of the audience and the market. So what are people asking for? What are people complaining about? What are people say that they need help with? And then 4 is the market opportunities, the gap. So other people are maybe serving this market in other ways, but maybe there's an unfilled gap there that we can tackle. So in my box number 1, from a web developer to a mobile developer to an IT leader, to IT management, what I found is the thing across all of those that has in common with me personally, with Chad, is not it's not the technology. And I
Yeah.
know this is many of you tuned in to this podcast because it has the word tech in it. I'm sorry, but I like people now more than I like technology. And one of the periods in my life where I really figured that out and really identified that is when I was in IT leadership, and I would have one-on-ones with my employees. I would have one-on-one conversations every 2 weeks with every single employee in my department. And that for me was always like the highlight of everything. And if I could cut out all the other meetings, all the other crap that I had to go to, like as a manager, all the other product meetings and stuff I could be in, and just focus on the employees, that I could definitely make a career out of that. I would love to do that, but so far I've never found an employer that allowed me to do that, right? But just helping the other employees identify things, like coach them through whatever issues they're going on. And sometimes it's a motivational thing where, hey, you know what, Mike here is really down in the dumps about stuff that's going on either personally or at work, and I need to just be that guy that kind of lifts him up and says, no man, look, we're going to get through this together. You can do it. You're smart, you're capable, you've got through worse times, and kind of pick him up out of the dumps. Or somebody who's just not being productive and they're not getting things done, and instead of like, hey person, you suck, you need to step up or you're fired, really dive into what's going on at work, what's going on in your head. You're better than this, you're capable of more than this, so what can we do? Is it tools, is it process, is it schedule, is it you're on too many projects at one time? What's going on to keep you from being as productive as possible? And just on and on and on. I get so many stories about that, but that's my passion, is helping people like identify what the problems are that are keeping them back from growing their career and getting into the positions they want, or getting their products built and shipped out the door. Eventually helping people with their businesses as well, but I don't think I'm there to help yet. So just if I could focus on the career building and the product building, I think those are my passions. And things I'm good at, the skills are kind of coincidentally those things, because I have actual experience there. So that's the market, that's the audience that I want to serve. Now,
Okay.
What do they want? People want to grow their careers. People want to move up from that entry-level position to that senior position to that lead. Sometimes they may or may not want to move into a lead position or move into management. Many people hate that idea and don't want to do it, but they do want to grow their career, and they do want to make more money next year than they did this year. And they want more job security, not necessarily at the job that they're at, but just across their career, so that, they have options and can move around and they're respected, and like, okay, we need to hire this lady because she's awesome, and they want to feel like when they're building their products that they're doing it for a reason, and not just because I love the technology, but like people are actually going to use this thing, right? And they're going to love it and they're going to want it. And I love working in software development, or I love working in technology, but the things that I'm putting together is for actual real life humans that are going to actually use it. So those are my passions and skill sets, and a little bit of what the market and audience wants, but I still need to do a lot of refining there and get real specific use cases. I feel like
that's absolutely key. That specificity and really drilling down into answering the question. First of all, one of the first questions anyone's going to ask you if you take a product to them is what's in it for me in terms of an actual deliverable? What result am I going to get? And they want specifics. And so with the kind of stuff you're talking about now, it does need sharpening.
Yeah.
In terms of what that outcome for a potential member would be, because if the outcome is, well, it could be one of these 20 different things, then it's less relatable for a potential member who maybe they're not involved in product development, they're not looking to move into management, they don't have confidence problems, maybe they have a mishmash of different things. So if you're giving people a list of here's 20 or 30 possible ways in which this can help, then it's a much harder sell than say this is kind of specifically, what this membership will do. So that research for you, I feel, into your market and their needs is going to be the exercise that really sharpens and applies the stuff you're passionate about and you're interested in. And, what's a good thing with this grid as well is trying to think of actual standalone ideas just within the interest opportunities, market needs, and skills as well, and seeing whether anything crosses over. So you can start kind of shooting, spitballing potential, okay, so career advice or career skills for IT managers. That's a potential, this is what a membership or a course or something could be around, and that fits into one sort of area. Then you might have, I don't know, helping product developers get unstuck could fall into another area, and then you start to kind of see where's the sort of overlaps. Can you form that picture of I do X to help Y achieve Z, to complete that sentence through the different ideas that you're coming up with. But I think that getting that market research and asking your tribe what they want specifically, what are some of the specific problems that you have, that's going to really shape and sharpen and focus the more interest, passion based stuff as well, I think.
Okay, great. So we need to get a lot more specific. I realize that. I'm going to own up to that. So what are some actual tactical things that I can do, right? So I have an audience of, I don't know, so many hundreds or thousands of people that listen to this every day or every week. And I can obviously say, like right here on the podcast, hey guys, like answer this question. Like what can I help you with? Like what are the problems in your career, whether you're a software developer or you're a web admin or you're a Hadoop administrator or whatever it is in your career? What are the things you're stuck at, right? Are you trying to get a promotion and you can't? Are you trying to get job security and you feel like you're getting laid off everywhere? Are you trying to get hired and the interview process sucks? Like what are the specific things in your careers that you're having problems with? Hit me back up, hit the comments on hellotechpros.com/125, episode 125, or join our Slack channel at hellotechpros.com/Slack and let me know, like specifically let me know. So Mike, that's an example of something that I could do and I'm actually doing right now, right? Inviting people to give me feedback. But what are some other examples that the audience can do to if they don't have a podcast, if they don't have an audience, say to ask that question to, what can they do to get specificity?
I think if you don't have an audience, that's your number one priority. Before anything else, build a following, or find where your audience are and go there. So if you know that the audience you want to serve are all active within a particular forum or a particular Facebook group, go there, speak to the people and the influencers within your market and see whether there are opportunities for you to gain access to that audience in order to ask the kind of questions you just asked your own audience. So let's say I was putting together a membership specifically aimed at the tech industry, then I could come along to you and ask to be on your podcast. If I didn't have one of my own or my own audience, I'd come along, ask to come on your podcast and suggest a topic that would bring up organic opportunities to put that question out there for my own needs. So this could be me on your show saying, I'd love it if your audience could hit me up at membership guys on Twitter, cheap pop, and let me know what kind of, do you know you can do that? Partnering up joint ventures with people who have audiences you want access to. Some of those kind of influencers or figures might, if they run blogs or podcasts, you can contribute content. And again, through that, have some sort of way of gathering data. Sometimes they just run Facebook groups or they run membership sites. And you can actually get into their membership, and then see if there's ways in which you can ask questions that are going to reveal the sort of information that you want. Wherever your audience are, you should be. Ideally, it's a place that you control, your own Facebook group, your own Slack channel, because then you don't have to worry about asking for permission to send a survey out or something like that. But you need that audience as the best focus group you're going to have. When you have that sort of audience, again, you can shortcut it. You can actually put out there that you're looking to form a focus group, and form an actual focus group where maybe you offer a degree of free one-on-one coaching in exchange for being able to pick the brains of people who you think best encompass your potential members, or the type of demographic, the type of professionals you want to be delivering products for. And again, if there's only 5 or 6 people, but they're 5 or 6 people who come together or come to you specifically because you said, I want to really go in depth with you on this, then again, they'll tell you, especially again, if it comes back to what we said in the last episode, you're solving problems, and people like to gripe about their problems.
Yeah.
So it won't take too much probing to get people to kind of say, okay, when it comes to your career, what are your top 3 things that really grind your gears? What are the top 3 stumbling blocks you feel exist for IT professionals today that you've personally experienced? They will jump at the opportunity to complain about glass ceilings, to complain about dodgy recruiters, to complain about outsourcing to overseas developers being a major problem. They will tell you. You just need to get in front of that audience and either just ask one simple question to a huge audience, or ask a bunch of more in-depth questions to a small segment of the audience. You can do more and more research out there. Again, if you kind of roll on the idea of people griping and complaining about the sort of problems they have, go to the Amazon reviews section for books that are aimed at IT professionals, that are aimed at giving career advice or teaching soft skills to people in certain industries. Look at the 1-star, the 2-star reviews, see what sort of stuff people are saying are missing from those books. That's the stuff people want to know about. Just little things like that. Tap into that human nature element of that makes us all want to just have a little bit of a moan from time to time, and that'll fuel the ideas, and it'll sharpen up. Here are the commonalities. Here are the things that someone who's in middle management in a FTSE 100 company managing 100 IT professionals had the same gripe as this guy who's in a team of 3 people trying to get their app started up. So there's my crossover universal problem, and I know that I can provide this particular solution that is going to help both of those guys, even though their situations are completely different. That's where you're going to find the most compelling stuff. And it does involve time, it does involve research. You can decide how much you want to spend on this, how much time you want to spend on this. But as soon as you get that clarity, and that clarity is only going to come from speaking to your audience, speaking to your market. As soon as you get that clarity, then you're going to find yourself in a decent position to move forward.
So, Mike, I almost want to cry a little bit about the information that you gave me, because there's a lot of big points that stick out in my mind. The first big point that stuck out in my mind is when you told me you don't have to have an audience in order to find this information out, to get specific. Like when I was listening to the the Membership Guys podcast, and was thinking, okay, well, before I figure out what membership site I want to build, first I need to build an audience, and that means, let's see, either blogging or podcasting or videos, and I'll try podcasting. And so, I've spent months and months like really working my butt off trying to put this 7-day-a-week show together. And I have no complaints. I love it. This is the best thing that I've ever done. It's amazing, but it's a lot of work. And I could have skipped that step by taking your approach here of just go to somebody else's audience. Go to somebody else's podcast.
However, the way you've done it is the way you should do it.
Okay.
Because getting in front of other people's audiences is tougher. It's genuinely tougher. You're going to get rejected. You're going to get turned away. Usually, if you want to, it's a lot easier for me, for example, to have built my own audience and invite someone onto my podcast who I would consider an authority or an expert in a particular area than it is for me to go to them as a complete unknown without any audience, without any following, and say, hey, would you like to put me on your podcast? They're going to say, who the hell are you? So, there's a balance to it. It's better for you long run. At some point, other people's audiences need to become your audience. Otherwise, you're constantly going to be on rented ground. And for your membership, you need your own audience. You need your own following, because if it's one thing to go to an influencer and kind of say, is there something we can do together where I can survey your audience? It's one thing to ask that. It's another thing to say, is there any chance you could sell my product to your audience? That's a very different conversation. You need to get those people into your domain. So what you're doing, building your own audience, you don't need to do that before you're able to do research for your idea, but I would argue that you definitely need to do that before you launch a membership.
So, Mike, on the last episode, I feel I did a poor job as a host of allowing you time at the end to explain to people where they can get in contact with you and what your site and what your podcast is all about, because I was so excited that we're going to do a back-to-back interview. So when we come back from break, I want to ask you about your site, about your membership, and what you're doing there to help people like me, get their stuff together and put their memberships together. But first, we're going to take a quick break and thank our sponsors. This episode of Hello Tech Pros is sponsored by Minio Cloud Storage. Minio is a cloud object storage server for developers and DevOps written in Go. The Go programming language is the emerging language of choice for modern cloud infrastructure projects, and it allows Minio to be highly concurrent and lightweight. Minio is Amazon S3 compatible, built with microstorage architecture in mind, but at its heart, Minio is simple, scalable, and supported by a passionate developer and user community. In episode 89 of Hello Tech Pros, I talked with A.B. Periasamy, one of the founders of Minio, about the importance of community support and recruiting software developers who are as passionate about their product's code as artists are of their art. Check out that episode at hellotechpros.com/89 and check out Minio Cloud Storage at minio.io. That's minio.io. Okay, we're back with Mike Morrison, one half of the Membership Guys, who teaches people, like he's been teaching me for the last episode and a half, about why and where and how to build a membership site. And this is it's all about finding a community of people who have needs, who have problems, who have complaints and gripes about whatever is going on in their life, that you have the passion and the experience to fix, and then identify a specific gap in the way that other people are trying to solve that problem that you can apply a little differently and help them out with that. And so Mike's given me so much great advice here on the last two episodes about, first of all, identify those passions and those skills and what the audience wants, and then the market gaps. And then on this episode, we talked about how to get really, really specific and drilling down into how you can query that audience, or how you can get in front of somebody else's audience, or how to build your own audience in order to ask them those questions and come up with the exact specific problems that you're going to solve and how you're going to do it. So, Mike, what is the exact specific problem that you help people like me solve on your show and in your membership group?
We help anyone with a membership, thinking about a membership, weighing up whether it's the right thing for them. We help them to do what they need to do to plan, build, launch, and grow successful membership sites. And that's that's the broad topic. But again, coming back to solving problems, we help people get away from time for money traps. We help people to create a business, and not a golden goose, not a jar of snake oil, not something that's going to let them retire at age 25, having never done a day's work in their life. We teach memberships as a business model, as a mechanism to better leverage your time, knowledge, experience, and expertise to create a business that's scalable, that doesn't have a single point or a small number of points of weakness in terms of clients. No crazy deadlines, no crazy clients, just a good, solid business model built on recurring revenue that comes from teaching people, helping people, and solving their problems. So we do that over at our own membership, membersiteacademy.com. We take people right from pretty much where you are now, the idea stage, step by step. We have a whole membership roadmap that takes you step by step from just a head full of ideas to narrowing those down, researching them, validating them, fleshing them out, turn them into something that is a product, then putting together the tech, creating the content, launching it, growing it, scaling it, and turning it into a 10, 15, 20-year business plan. We do all of that. We have courses, we have free downloads, we have discounts, perks, all that kind of stuff, and an awesome community in there too. So as you might be able to tell from these past couple of episodes, I love this stuff. This is what we're passionate about, myself, my partner Callie, and we're helping a lot of people within the academy, and we're having a lot of fun doing that. So that's kind of our product. That's where we make the big differences. But we also blog, we podcast, we have a Facebook group. So our blog and our podcast are at themembershipguys.com. We put out a weekly show talking specifically just about various things related to membership sites. And we have a Facebook group over at talkmemberships.com. If you go to that address, that'll take you through to our Facebook group. It's free. Got about 2,000 membership site owners or people interested in starting a membership site in there too. And obviously you can just get advice and stuff in there. So I think that's everything we do, possibly. We're jumping into video blogging sometime in the next couple of weeks. Wow. So yeah, that'll be a lot of fun.
All over the board, man. You're doing so much. This is not something, I want to make this clear because there's a lot of folks who are in the make money online, passive income, recurring income. This is not easy, right? We're not talking about throwing up something and just walking away and go buying an island and cashing in the checks monthly that come in. This is like you're talking about, it's a lot of stuff that you're constantly working on. It's a real business.
Yeah, we teach memberships as a business model. There's a lot of people out there who will teach membership sites as a marketing tactic or as a get-rich-quick turnkey scheme. We teach it as a business model. We teach it to people who care more about how they make their money than how much they can make. And don't get me wrong, there is potential to make a load of money with a membership site in the same way that there's a potential to make a load of money with a coaching business or a services business. We don't sell it as this key to unlocking riches or this passive income, which is my favorite myth online. Or this holy grail kind of thing. We just teach it as a business model that is better than trading time for dollars, working one-on-one with clients. And certainly for ourselves, we got into doing what we're doing with membersiteacademy.com and with the membershipguys.com. We started doing service model, building memberships for private clients on a one-on-one basis. We've been involved in some highly successful membership sites over the years. But since we decided to plant our flag in the sand and start teaching this stuff and start helping more people with this, our entire business has transitioned away from doing one-on-one services to being completely, our whole business is just Member Site Academy, our membership site. So what I'm talking about here as moving away as a tech pro from, if you're self-employed, from dealing with clients one-on-one through to having a membership site as an alternative business model and a one that's easier to scale. That is exactly what we've done with our site. We have gone from being web developers on a service base, doing services, building websites, doing the web strategy and all that sort of stuff, through to purely 100% teaching this stuff. No more clients. Oh, thank God. No more insane deadlines. completely on your own terms, and a lot more fun, a lot more fulfilling.
So I was going to ask specifically, like, you talked about these high level goals of it can allow you to switch transition from one-on-one service to one-to-many service and stuff like that. But what has been the actual tangible changes in Mike, in your life and in your business? Like, what difference has it made that you're like, yes, I'm so happy that we've made this transition?
I want to tell you about a client called Linda. Linda was
Is that
crazy.
a real name?
That is one letter removed from her real name,
Okay, fair enough.
because she had one of those really odd names. Uh,
Gotcha.
Linda was crazy. I remember a particular day where my phone just kept buzzing and buzzing and buzzing, and it was at a weekend, and I was playing PlayStation, and I didn't want to answer the phone, so I just let it buzz, and it just didn't stop for nearly 30 minutes. And when I took a look at it, I had 7 voicemail messages from Linda. She was a client who worked for a florist, just a small business. This was maybe 6, 7 years ago. And Linda was screaming on the messages about the font size on her
What?
website.
Wait, what? The font
The
size?
font size, which she felt should be 2 pixels higher than it was, and felt so strongly about that she was calling me over and over and over again. So I called her back a little. I'd had a few rum and coke, so I was a little less professional in my dealings with clients. And
Right.
Since a few years into freelancing as a web dev, I kind of had this mental switch where I kind of said, you know what, these guys are lucky to be working with me, and therefore I'm not going to put up with the usual rubbish that most freelancers do. So I'm kind of fairly unforgiving with clients who are a total nightmare. I loved my clients, I love my members, but if you are just ringing me 6 or 7 times and wrote a complaint about font size, I'm not going to, yes sir, no sir, 3 bags full sir kind of response. So I rang Linda back and was like, okay, what the hell's going on with this font size? And she reamed me out down the phone. I mean, I thought she was going to burst a blood vessel with how outraged she was, how terrible I was at my job for having the temerity to set the font at 14 pixels instead of 16 pixels.
Wow. How dare you? How dare you, sir? I'm offended on Linda's behalf. 14 pixels? Really? 14 pixels? You should know better. You call yourself a tech pro? You call yourself a professional?
Man, I'm having flashbacks, right?
Sorry.
But this rage, well, she was already rageful on her first 2 messages, and it boiled over from the fact that I hadn't called her back sooner. 7 messages in the space of 30 minutes. She was incensed that it had taken me 30 minutes to call her back on a weekend. Wow. And this was about 10 o'clock. And when I say 10 o'clock, when I say 10 o'clock, you may think morning. It was evening.
Oh.
And it was over Christmas.
Oh my gosh.
The tangible benefit to my business from now being solely focused around memberships is I don't have to speak to Linda or her like ever again.
Yay!
The stress, the anxiety, the crazy stuff we put ourselves through as service providers, dealing with 90% perfect, fantastic, wonderful people who are clients, but dealing with the 10% of absolute nutbags isn't worth it. It really isn't worth it, because we all know when you sit down and do the maths, when you're self-employed, sit down and do the maths, you feel good about yourself, you're charging $50, $75, $100 per hour, but actually, when it's all said and done, you're pretty close to minimum wage because there's so much extra stuff goes into it. It's not worth it for the hassle that you get from these crazy clients. It's not worth it when someone decides that they want to, this project you had all mapped out and you had all planned out, thinking you're going to finish you've got 2 months to work in, and then they turn around and need it in 2 weeks' time. It's not worth it. It really isn't worth it. You can earn your money in such a more fulfilling, more enjoyable, less stressful way. So I don't have to worry about checking my email when I wake up in the morning. I don't have to panic, have that anxiety of, oh, okay, what's happened now? What's crashed? What do they want? What deadlines changed? What supplier hasn't come through? So that release of pressure is genuinely life changing. I went 7 years, my first 7 years of my freelance career without a holiday because I was convinced the world would end
Oh my.
if I went on holiday. Yeah. We don't take holidays. I mean, seriously. And before I actually took the first holiday, I spent weeks preparing for backup developers just in case. And I had emergency, there were 2 or 3 different web companies there as emergencies and redundancies and all of that. And then I went on holiday and like nothing happened. It was just fine.
Oh,
you know.
beautiful.
So, now I don't even think about it. We met over in Chicago, podcast movement. In the month or so before that, I was all over the UK at different events. In April, I was over in San Diego for Social Media Marketing World. Me and Callie went there. We don't have to think twice because we work wherever we want, whenever we want. We can run our business just from our mobile phone because most of our business is just answering questions on the community. Or we'll record some content, which I can record a podcast interview from a hotel room.
Yep.
And put that out. So
Yep.
it's transformational. It genuinely is transformational when you take complete control over what you're doing, what your business is, where you are not subject to clients. And on the financial side of things, that comes true as well, because, if you've ever had that situation where someone you were counting on paying that big invoice for that project you spent the last 6 months working for decides that they actually don't pay invoices on anything other than a 90-day payment cycle, and they hadn't told you up front, that can put you on your knees as a service provider. It can genuinely cripple you in your business. And, I know a lot of people who've had those moments in this industry as well, where they've been royally shafted and they're close to having to close down their business because someone just hasn't paid their invoice on time.
Man.
With a membership model, as a business model, again, not as some ridiculous, this is going to make you insanely rich kind of pie in the sky rubbish. As a business model, if you get that recurring revenue, if you've got 100 or 200 people paying you $50 a month, if one person decides to cancel, if 10 people decide to cancel, if you have a bad month, if you don't get any sales this month, then the impact of that is a drop in the ocean. Because, if you've got 2 clients and 50% of them decide they're not paying you this month, then you're screwed. Yeah. So it just changes the complexion of your business. It changes the complexion of your life. And it just makes things so much easier to deal with, I'm not watching the clock on our interview here. Oh, single interview turned into a double interview, and I generally don't care because I'm enjoying it, because I don't have to get off the phone to talk to a client. I've cleared my afternoon. So when I'm done with this, I'm done. Just because I can. I don't need to work to anyone's timetable. I don't need to work to anyone's terms. And our members in the academy, they're experiencing that too for the first time. Some of them who've been running their memberships for years and are refining things and finding more stuff to enjoy about their membership and appreciating the freedom that it gives them. We get to be around that and part of that transformation every day. And it's pretty awesome. And sorry, I went into almost evangelical mode.
Preach it, brother. Preach it. Hey, listen,
man.
The choir is listening. I am right here with you, and I am listening, and preach on, because this is such great stuff. This is, for a lot of people. For some people, it's not their style, and that's cool.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different revenue styles. There's a lot of different business styles, and this is one. And for me, it's one that I'm not there yet, but I'm very passionate about finding. I think it's a great model that works with my personality for the reasons I said back on episode 118, right? Is because of, like you said, that diversification of income coming from, instead of 2 clients or 1 client if you're employed by an employer, or 2 or 3 clients if you're a freelancer, to diversify that into 100 people a month or 1,000 people a month, right? And once you build up those numbers, there's going to be some churn, right? There's constantly going to be people leaving every now and then, right? But you don't need to be in a panic of, oh my gosh, 3 people left this month, I'm totally hosed. You're like, okay, well, if I could sell 3 more memberships over the next month or 2, then I'll get back to that level. Otherwise, I've taken a 1% dip or a 0.5% dip or whatever.
When we talk about this as a business model, and I make sure and I beat people over the head with the fact that it's work. Mm-hmm. It's probably less work for the return that you're doing now, but it's still work. And it's work on your terms, and it's work you're going to enjoy. But don't think you're going to spend your life sipping cocktails. I don't know anybody, I don't know about you, Chad, but I don't know anyone who read the 4-Hour Work Week who only works 4 hours a week.
Well, I do know one person, but he's broke. Yeah. He only works 4 hours a week, and he lives in a box under a bridge. But, it's...
There we go. So that if that's what you're after, this isn't the model for you. It really isn't. You will need to turn up. You do need to do work. A membership is a value exchange. People only add value to you in terms of money in the bank if you add value to them in terms of solving their problems, giving them content, answering their questions, and so on. But it's, you're doing that now already. You're just doing it on a one-on-one basis, and you're probably not getting the appreciation that you want, and you're maybe not as fulfilled. But the membership model as a business model, if you can get just 1 member per day, it's not a breeze to get into a position where you're attracting 1 new member per day. Mm-hmm. If you get 1 member per day for your membership with a pretty normal level of churn, that's going to put you in a position where you're probably going to be earning a bit more than you're earning now in employment or in self-employment. And unless, you are dead set on being a multi-millionaire and all that sort of stuff, that's 1 member a day is going to give you revenue levels that most people will be perfectly happy with.
Right.
We're not about, this is a route to becoming a millionaire. It's actually, if you can take home 10 grand a month from doing something like this, that's not too bad, right?
That's not too bad.
It's not too bad at all. So if you care more about how you make your money than how much money you make, and don't get me wrong, we've worked in projects and we've been massively involved in projects where, one of our favorite clients started off as a guy with a blog and a PayPal donation button teaching people how to play bass guitar. He's now got a membership site that's got 15,000 members, turns over $2 million a year.
Yeah.
There is. Yeah. And that's within 2 years.
Wow.
There is money to be made if you really go into it, and if you hit a hot niche and you are massively talented at what you do and you are willing to work your ass off, you can make money. So when I talk about, it's about caring more about how you make the money and how much money you make, you can get the best of both worlds, but that's not the picture we sell. We don't, we don't love memberships just because we think everyone who sets up a membership should be aiming for that $2 million mark. And this guy does a lot of work to get that, that level of income. But there's definitely more potential, and there's no real ceiling to what you're doing in memberships in the same way they would do in a career or even offering services. You've only got so many hours in the day, and if those hours are only generating you, income from a single source, so they're single use hours, then you've got a limit on how much you can earn according to how many hours you actually have to do billable work. So a membership frees you up from that.
Awesome. Mike, you have inspired me and taught me so much on these past 2 episodes. I really appreciate your time coming on and sharing all this stuff, because now I'm fired up to, after this call, go start really targeting specific people in my audience. So another call to action that I'll give my audience right now is leave me some feedback on Twitter at HelloTechPros, or on the website. There's a lot of different links. This is hellotechpros.com/1 125, episode 125, or join our Slack channel at hellotechpros.com/Slack and join the conversation and give me some feedback about the problems that you've got in your career or in your product development. And I would love to hear that. But I'm going to, after this call, get really, really specific and like reach out to specific individual people that I know that I've had kind of generalized conversations in the past, but I'm going to really dive into to figuring this stuff out and coming down to what are the specificity, the specific problems that individuals are having, and could I come up with a solution to those problems. But before we go, Mike, could you share any parting words of wisdom for the audience, the best way that we can connect with you, and then we'll say goodbye.
In terms of connecting with me, you can hit me up on Twitter at Membership Guys. Obviously, we've got our blog and our podcast at themembershipguys.com. Our Facebook group, definitely check that out if you're even just thinking about memberships. It's free. Myself and Callie are in there all the time with a couple of thousand other people like you. Nice. And you can find that at talkmemberships.com. And in terms of parting words of wisdom, man, that's a struggle. my anytime I get the kind of what general advice would you give people in general, it's I suppose the resounding thing that has stuck with me for years is just that you don't have to ask for permission to do things on your terms. And this isn't just to do with memberships. It isn't just to do with any particular business model. When it comes to your career, when it comes to your life, when it comes to your business, you don't have to wait for someone to give you permission to do it on your terms. You do not have to deal with Linda calling you up 7 times over Christmas in a 30-minute period. You don't have to stand for that. You have complete control over the way in which you earn a living. You can control that. You can change that if you're not happy about it. Set your own terms. Set your business out according to those terms. Don't just stick in something because, you know, it's the way that it's always been, or it's the way that it's done, or it's because that's how someone else is doing it. Don't leave a job and go into self-employment and just become a freelancer because that's kind of just what you've always done as a living. Explore opportunities for other business models like membership sites, like group coaching. You know, if you don't want to go full-blown into a membership site, do some sort of group coaching, or, you know, something that isn't just one-to-one time for money kind of stuff. So again, I don't know how wise the words of wisdom are, but you know, just do it on your terms, man. Do it on your terms, especially if you're self-employed, because you left your job so you could be your own boss, right? So be your own boss, set your terms, and refuse to compromise for anyone.
Mike, thank you so much for joining me on Hello Tech Pros today. I really value your education, your inspiration, your knowledge, your wisdom that you shared with us today, and the coaching that you've provided me here on this podcast. I really appreciate your time and appreciate you joining me on the show today.
Hey man, I appreciate you having me on. I hope I didn't ramble too much. That is a side effect of actually having a business and running something around something you're passionate about, is whenever people talk to you about it, you just go off. You seriously do. So if I rambled a little too much for your listeners, hopefully you'll edit it down. If you don't, hopefully they don't mind. And I look forward to hearing how you get on with plans for your own membership.
Well, you know what? On every single episode, there are some audience members that the message is just not right for, and they're going to tune out. You know, that's the beauty of podcasts, is you have the ability to jump to another track and do whatever you want. That's great, no problem. But for the folks like myself who are listening to this going, holy moly, like this is awesome, then they're right here with us all the way to the end. We appreciate it.
Good stuff.
Awesome. Tech Pros, if you feel like you need permission, right, to implement some of these big changes in your life or your career, you have it. I'm giving you the permission right now. You don't need it, but if you feel like you need to hear from somebody that just tells you, do it, I'm telling you, I'm giving you permission. You got it from Chad Bostic. I give you permission. Talk to your spouse. If you have a spouse, go talk to them. Get their permission too. But go do it. Whatever you want. Look at lots of different business models. Think about your passions. Think about your skills. What does the audience want? Go find an audience that you can tap into, look for gaps in the marketplace, and then solve problems. That's what we're here to do. You've been listening to Mike Morrison, and I'm Chad Bostic. And until next time, take care. The show notes page for this episode can be found at hellotechpros.com/125. Do you use Slack for team communication? Join the Hello Tech Pros Slack channel at hellotechpros.com/Slack. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a review, subscribe to this channel, and check back tomorrow. This has been Entrepreneurship Saturday, but tomorrow my featured guest and I will not be talking about work because it's Sunday being unplugged. On Monday, we'll get motivated once again to face the week with Motivation Monday, followed by Tuesday, productivity, Wednesday, leadership, Thursday, technology, Friday, people communication, and Saturday, back to our entrepreneurship. And I'll talk to you tomorrow.